Golf Guru Greg here, back with Scott Donald for another Masters Week video. Scott, how's it going today, man?
It's going good. Been watching the preview for the Masters and can't wait for it to start tomorrow.
Awesome. I'm so excited as well, man. I can't wait. So today we have a DraftKings breakdown for you guys. We're going to go price range by price range, let you know who we like the best. We'll kind of go touch on each individual player and come up with a couple nice little strategies for you guys back home and hopefully creating some winning lineups this week. All right, so without further ado, let's just jump right into it. With the 10K and up range, we have 5 golfers, 5 guys that pretty much are here for a reason. Starting at 10K with DJ, McIlroy at 10.2, Rahm at 10.5, Thomas at 10.7, and Bryson cracks 11 this week at $11,200. Scott, I'll start with you. Obviously, out of these 5, I know your lock of the week was Dustin Johnson, so you can touch on him a little bit. But who else do you like in this price range?
Well, as you said, Dustin is the guy who was my lock of the week. I would be picking him. However, I do really like Rory McIlroy's chances this week at 10,200 on the salary. He's coming in with a bit of form. He's played well around this place before. I think he has a good chance this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's also, top of the leaderboard come Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I like Rory as well. I know that we've always talked about this, and you always mention to me, oh, Rory has 3 of the 4 major championships. He just doesn't have a Masters. You always tell me his game fits perfectly for this course. What is he lacking that he just hasn't been able to take that next step? Is it the confidence? Does he get nervous? What's going on with Rory that he hasn't been able to pull one of these green jackets out?
I think we have to go back to when he led in, I think it was 2010. It was a long time ago now. And he had the 54-hole lead. He was cruising by, had a three-shot lead going into the back 9. And then out of nowhere in 10, he pull hooks it out, almost out of bounds. He's in the houses, which we've not seen in years.
Okay. I think I remember this one.
So I think that's really knocked him. And as everyone said, this course is set up for him. It's the course he probably should have won by now. But I think that's what's really holding him back from it, is that everyone's telling him this course you should have won. How have you not won here yet? It's tailor-made to your game. I think it's getting to him. However, I think now the pressure's a little bit off him. People aren't talking about it as much these days. So is this the week he comes through and finally beats his demons at Augusta National? We'll see.
Might have been 2011. I think I'm looking at right here. He entered the final round with a 4-stroke lead. And I believe it fell apart between the 10th and the 12th holes. If this is right, let me know. He went triple bogey, bogey, double in that 3-hole stretch. Was that is that what you're talking about right there?
Yeah, it's a big shame seeing him, such a talented young boy, burst onto the scene around the PGA Tour that time and was supposed to walk to victory, after being so many up and on 10 out of nowhere, as I said, just completely lost. And that little run, I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's so sad. And that happens. We see a lot of guys just can't finish on day 4. I mean, it is what it is. We see it a lot I feel like we see it a lot more from the top guys just because they put themselves up there, like DJ, he always gives himself a chance. That's why, maybe we consider these guys, I guess, chokers, but they're not really. It's just they're giving themselves a chance. They just can't finish. From this range, I think I'm liking Rahm. I know he was one of my plays. I do like DJ as well. I think DJ is a good play. I actually was tampering with some lineup construction earlier. It is possible to kind of fit Rahm and DJ because those are, I think, my 2 favorite plays. Yeah, you still have about 7,400 remaining per player. I think a Rahm and DJ lineup could definitely be a possibility this week. I even think if you're going Rory, I think a Rory and DeChambeau pairing, I think Rory and Bryson might be a good little pair, just because I think that's a really I don't think anyone will really have that duo. I think a lot of people will go Bryson and DJ, and that easily could be a winning lineup, the Bryson and DJ mix, with obviously a bunch of guys in the 7K range. But I think a Bryson and Rory pairing is quite interesting, and I don't think anyone's really thinking about that. But personally, my personal opinion, I think you need two guys from this price range. I don't think Justin Thomas is the guy. I really don't. I think, obviously, I think he's world number 2 right now, 2 or 3. But I don't think, for some reason, I feel like these other guys are better plays. I don't know why. I think my pecking order would definitely go Rahm, DJ, Bryson, Rory, JT. So it's a tough area, but the thing is with this range, you have to, if one of these guys wins, you have to have him in your lineup. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to, I mean, if Rory comes out and wins, you have to have him. You know what I mean? You got to have one of these top guys. You know, if you play DJ and he gets 10th, and you play a bunch of other guys who don't win, you know, you're not going to cash. This is a very pivotal. I know obviously you want to get the cheaper guys, but with a tournament like this, with the Masters, one of these 5 guys, I would say, has a very, very good chance of winning. You have to have the winner from these 5 guys, and it's not easy. They're all top 5, 6 golfers in the world, so this is tough. But yeah, I think DJ's a really good play. We talked about yesterday, his ball striking is off the tee. I mean, it's insane how good he is. You know, we saw him at the Houston Open, just all of a sudden come back. You know, he didn't look like he really had a shot after day 1 and 2, and all of a sudden day 3 rolls around and he's in 3rd place. Day 4 rolls around, he finishes in 2nd place. It's like, gosh, you know, I feel like he didn't even try, and he just ends up in 2nd place.
Wow.
But yeah, everything I was actually surprised. I don't know about you, but to see Dustin Johnson 5th in price among these top 5 guys, you know what I mean? Were you shocked to see that as well?
I was, especially with the form he's coming in with. I mean, 2 wins, 2 second places, and a 6th. I mean, the guy is arguably the hottest player on tour right now.
Mm-hmm.
So to see him that low, especially a whole 1,200 behind DeChambeau. I mean, DeChambeau is coming in with a lot of hype around him. You know, Justin Thomas, as we talked about, we both don't like his chances too much this week. Jon Rahm is one of your picks. McIlroy is one of, you know, I think is going to be up there. But Dustin, that low, you know, within those guys to be the lowest one, it's a little bit disrespectful, in my opinion, to the guy.
I actually agree with you. I think it is too. Like I said, it was just when I saw the prices release it was a couple days ago. Yeah, I was shocked to see Dustin at 10,000, but I think the prices did release before the last tournament concluded. So I think if the prices were to release after the last tournament concluded, I think he would have been maybe even 2nd, where JT is at like 10-7, 10-8. You know what I mean? Just because he got 2nd at the Vivint Houston Open. So yeah, but I think we're kind of on the same page in a sense with these top guys. I think DJ is definitely my 2nd pick among the 5. I think Rahm is my 1st, just because, oh man, Rahm is just, he finds a way to baffle me every week. Just that skip shot over the water. Just the fact that he has that shot in his arsenal, like, that's so insane. But yeah, let's move on to the 9K guys, because we have a lot of guys to talk about here, and I know we're gonna probably get stuck on this for a while just because we're going to be talking about these guys. But let's start with the low end of the 9K. Bubba Watson is 9 flat. Tiger is 9-1. Reed is 9-2. Webb Simpson 9-3. Hatton 9-4. Morikawa 9-5. Cantlay 9-6. Koepka 9-7. And Schauffele 9-8. Scott, I will get to you first with this one. Who are you kind of on in the 9K range here?
This is a tough one because there's a lot of good golfers who I think could be up there on Sunday afternoon come the final few holes.
Oh, yeah.
The ones I'm already going to disregard. I've not liked Bubba in the previous video. I don't think he's going to do well. Tiger Woods, I mean, he is a defending champion. He loves this place. Can you really rule out the defending champion and the guy who has 3 green jackets? Maybe 5 green jackets, my bad. 5 green jackets. Webb Simpson here as well. I just looked at his average this season at 68.3. That is incredible. And at 9,300 on the lower spectrum of that, I think that could be the play this week. However, the one I'm going to pick is Tyrrell Hatton. The guy is on form. British contingent. I've got to have a British guy in there in my lineup. I
Yeah.
think his game suits it. Yes, he's got a bit of a temper, but he's the same with John Rahm. He's started to control it a little bit better. He's got the game for this place. He is, maybe on the shorter side, but he is straight. He's a great putter, great short game on him. He could be a good pick this week, and the slightly lower in the 9,000s. I think it's a really good play this week.
Yeah, and another thing we actually forgot to touch on with the top 5 guys is projected ownership. I was going to bring that up. It's looking like Bryson is probably going to be around. We'll just talk about these top guys for a second. It's looking like Bryson's maybe going to be around 20% owned. JT actually is looking like he's going to be the lowest owned at about 15%, which I'd say is about what I would think. John Rahm 18%, around there. Rory about 16 to 18%, and then DJ probably about 20+% as well. But let's get into these 9K guys. So you just said you liked Hatton. I too like Hatton, especially. It's looking like I'm seeing 10 to 12%. I feel like that's a little low. I'm thinking he's going to be more towards 13 to 15%. But even if he is around 13 to 15% owned, I still like Hatton here. I think he's a really good play. He played fairly well at the Houston Open. He missed out on a couple opportunities to where he really could have taken advantage and finished in a better spot. He did finish in 7th. He shot a 65 in round 4. His round 1 and 2, 71 and 70. He gets a couple more birdies in one of those rounds. We could see him obviously at the top of the leaderboard. But yeah, he played really well at the Houston Open. He finished, he had a first in Europe at the BMW Championship, 3rd at the CJ Cup, 28th at the Zozo, and 7th at the Houston Open. Those were his last 4. But yeah, the guy's been playing phenomenal golf. And I think that if he is 13 to 15% owned, I think that's still fair. As long as he doesn't crack 20% owned, that could be the problem if he starts to get too chalky. But sometimes you have to have the chalk if they play well. So let's jump into another guy. I'm going to give one of my takes, and then we'll come back to you with yours. I believe Cantlay, I know we talked about this yesterday. I believe Cantlay is a really good play. It's looking like, let me see what I have for his projected. It's looking like 10 to 12% as well with Cantlay, which is very fair too. I'll definitely be a little bit overweight on that 10 to 12%. I'll probably be, I really like Cantlay, so I'll probably be between 25 to 35% in my lineups with Cantlay, maybe even a little bit more, just because I really like where his game is at right now. He won at the Zozo, I believe, and he's just, make sure I have that right. Yeah, he won at the Zozo. My apologies. And I like where his game's at. He's hitting the ball really well. I think his putter is in a really good spot right now. And I think he's going to play well. If he comes in at that 10 to 13%, I'll be really happy. Another guy I'm looking at in this range, and I really like as a pivot off of Cantlay, if you think he's going to be a little bit more chalky, the people out there, if you think Cantlay is going to be 15 to 20% owned and don't really want to mess with that, I think Reed might be a sneaky play. I don't think too many people are on him. We have seen him win here before. He does have a green jacket. I believe it was 2017. I'll have to, maybe you can fact check me on that. You might know. It's looking like he's going to be about 10 to 12, 13% owned as well. That number obviously could change. We don't know where everybody's heads are at. That's just what we have projected ownerships. So I think Reed is definitely a sneaky play, and he's in pretty good form right now. That's something we want to look at coming into the Masters. This form, I feel like, is very important. Obviously, you love the course history. I think form for right now is my kind of thing. And obviously driving distance and birdie or better percentage. But with Reed, I think the form is really there. He had an 8th at the Tour Championships. He was 13th at the U.S. Open. I had him at the U.S. Open. Fired a 66 and 70, was in the lead after 2 days. Spit it out in round 3 on the back 9, shot a 77, and I was just in tears after. I remember watching with you. That was rough because I had a lot riding on Reed, and I was very happy, if you remember. 3rd at the BMW and 14th at the Zozo. So Reed has cracked the top 15 in his last 4 tries. I think the form is there. I think the tournament history, let's look at that real quick. 22nd in 15, 49th in 16, not the best. Cut in 2017. Sorry, 2018 was his win. 36th last year. So a little bit sporadic from Reed, which we've seen throughout his career. He's kind of up and down. It's kind of what Reed does. He's a little bit of a roller coaster. But I think when he's hot, he's hot. And I think this is a time right now where Reed might be a play. You could see him in the winning lineups easily. Regardless if he doesn't win, I think a top 5, top 10 is definitely in his future if he can put together some good golf here. So I'll move to you. Do you like another person you might like from this price range?
Yes, actually, he is at the very top. Is Xander Schauffele. I think he came tied second here last year. He's on a bit of form. The guy's game suits Augusta National.
Oh, yeah.
He has a very straight ball flight. He's long, iron play. He's very solid. Putting, he gets that flat stick rolling. He's good. I think 9,800 on that. If you've got one of the top guys and you need someone to come in, if you're not picking two from that top range, as we said earlier, Xander has got to be in your lineup because he is unquestionably one of the best golfers in the world right now. And he is going to make a run at this green jacket, in my opinion. He is one I will be putting into my lineup and maybe tailing off Dustin Johnson, both the highest in the 9,000 range and the lowest in 10,000. That might ducktail really well. Two great players there means I still have a little bit of money left, salary left to get some other guys in the slightly lower one. So this could be a sneaky good pairing. I feel a lot of people might go for that one.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it turns out.
So let me see Xander's projected. This projection is really low. I don't think it's going to end up being that low. This is saying about 12 to 15%. I don't think it'll be that low. I think Xander will definitely be 17 to 20%. If I see him lower than that, I will be very upset because I'm not really rostering Xander too much. But if he comes in at like 12, 13, 14%, I'm going to be so upset that I missed out on Xander at that low of a percent, since we see him, seems like every week he plays, he comes in at 20+%. But I agree with you when you say if you're playing one of the top guys. I think if you're not playing two of those guys in the top 5 price range, I think you have to put Xander in. So let's say you're starting with Rahm. I think if you're not playing another guy in that top 5, I think plugging in Xander is definitely a great play. I think my pivot off of that will be to Cantlay. That's just my personal. And then Hatton also, like you mentioned, is a great play. Let's get into a couple guys real quick that we're not really feeling in this 9K range. I know you yesterday said you didn't really like Bubba. I'll let you touch on that and maybe one more after I go real quick. I'm very skeptical of Brooks. I know that this is tough. I will end up playing him in a couple of lineups, but I don't know. I really don't know what his projected ownership is going to be. It's looking 13 to 16% here, but it easily could sneak up to 20, or it easily could get as low as 10. This is tough to me. I think definitely the lowest owned guy from this 9K category is going to be Tiger and Webb. Mm-hmm. Potentially Bubba, but I think I would much rather play Bubba over Webb. I think the upside is way more there with Bubba. But yeah, this is tough. I guess I think I'm agreeing with you in the sense that I'd rather have Xander than Brooks, and they're about the same price. So maybe Brooks is a pivot off of Xander for some people, but I think that if you're going to play Rahm, I think a good pairing, or anyone in the 10K plus range, I think a good pairing is Xander. If you want to look at the 9Ks, he shows up every event. Let's take a look back at Xander's game logs, just because. Second at the Tour Championship, 5th at the U.S. Open, 2nd at the CJ Cup, and 17th at the Zozo. Yeah, he shot a 72 in round 2. Came into the weekend and shot 67 and 65 at the Zozo. Really just had sparks flying on Saturday and Sunday. He just knows how to play golf. This guy, I saw a tweet from him today. He said something to the fact like, "Oh, last day of preparation in the books." He just looks focused. He looks ready to take on this course. He's not scared. He's a great player. He's a good ball striker. If his putter gets going, which it usually does, his short game is good. Everything about Xander, he just has such a good all-around game, but we always find him just to come up a little bit short. Always like he's knocking on the door and no one's opening it. I feel like with Xander, but yeah, I think we're kind of on the same page here with this 9K range. I will be playing Bubba a little bit more than you. I know you're full fade on Bubba, but I'm out on Tiger. I don't know if you have anything to say about our good friend Tiger Woods, man.
Yeah, I think it's always hard to bet against Tiger Woods. The thing that's interesting to me that I was just looking through all these players is within the first 5 guys, the top guys on there, they have won 7 majors between them. And then the next lot in the 9,000s, you take out Tiger Woods, who's won 15 majors. The guys have won 9 majors between them, and 4 of them have come from Brooks Koepka. To rule him out, yes, struggling with injuries this season, maybe not, his full Brooks Koepka self, but is he someone to rule out? I think that's really difficult. The guy was tied second here, I think last year with Xander Schauffele. So I think that is a really, good. It's a risky, high potential Brooks. If he's in there on a Sunday afternoon, the guy's been there, he's done it.
Yeah.
He can pull through, especially if he's up there with a few guys who haven't won a major. When that pressure comes down to those last few holes and he can step on the gas and do it, he is, I think, a really good shout. However, my play out of these ones who, as I said, I'm not picking Bubba. Tiger's a difficult one. Are you really going to go against the defending champion?
I know.
He hasn't played much, but the guy does know this golf course at the back of his hand. So that's a difficult one. Webb Simpson, as I said, has a great stroke average. Till Hatton, we've talked about, is good. Cantley's obviously your choice. The one we haven't talked about much is a major winner from this year, and that's Morikawa. The reason I don't like him, as I said, is he hasn't played this golf course much. Is he someone you would want to play in this? Of course, he's a major winner. He's one of the best on tour at the minute. However, I would stay away from him on this. In the middle of the 9s, 9,500, right in the middle of it. He's the one I'm staying away with the most. And the couple, as I said, I'm going for is if you're only taking one from the top guy, you've got to go with Xander or Brooks. They're the two you have to, one of the top 2 in the 9K. However, if you are going to take one of the top guys and you want to have a bit more depth in your field and you want to save a little bit of money, then the Webb Simpson, Till Hatton, Tiger Woods, one of those 3 I would do over the Patrick Reeds and the Bubba Watson.
Interesting. So we're kind of flipped on Reed. And then I was just going to mention about Morikawa. I don't really like him this week, but it looks like he's coming in at a pretty low projected ownership percentage. It doesn't look like many people are going to be playing Morikawa. He's the lowest from this 9K range with projected ownership. It goes Morikawa and then Tiger. It looks like Morikawa is going to be like 7%, sub 7%, so 7% or lower, which does entice me. But the fact that he's a debutant, the fact that he, like you said, he doesn't know the course, it's almost like, wouldn't you rather have a guy who this is like a home game for, like Tiger? We're gonna bet on the away team. We're gonna take Morikawa. That's what I kind of think of it in a sense. But either way, let's move on to the 8Ks. We kind of touched on the 9Ks enough. So the 8Ks, there are a good chunk of them, about the same as the 9Ks. We will start with the bottom of the 8Ks. Paul Casey at 8K flat. Ricky Fowler, 8,100. Jordan Spieth, 8,200. Sergio Garcia withdrew. He was 83. Jason Day, 8,400. Matthew Wolf, 8,500. Tommy Fleetwood, 8,600. Hideki Matsuyama, 8,700. Tony Finau, 8,800. And Adam Scott, 8,900. I'll kind of get us started with this one. Obviously, lock of the week, Matsuyama. I think this is a fantastic play. 8,700. I think this is a bargain. Only problem I see with Matsuyama is if his ownership is too high, that will upset me. But I'm thinking in my head that the ownership is going to get deflected off of Matsuyama and go to Wolf and Day a little bit extra. I think the average kind of DraftKings player is going to look at Wolf, look at Day, and be like, okay, these guys are coming in at a little bit cheaper. These guys are good plays. I don't like either of them. Both of them, those are 2 of my fades, actually, Wolf and Day. But if Matsuyama keeps his ownership percentage low, I'm going to be real happy come Thursday when I see if he's like 12% owned or lower. So we'll see. I also really like Tony Finau. I was looking at him a little bit more today. I was doing research before we started, and I just really like what Finau has to offer here. He's played this tournament twice. He's finished twice in the top 10. His recent form is there. He didn't play great at the Houston Open. I was expecting a little bit more. He finished in 24th. He had a bad round 4, though. He shot 71. I think that this guy his form is there. Like I said, let's see, 17th at the Tour Championship, 8th at the U.S. Open, 11th at the Zozo, 24th at the Houston Open. He is coming back from COVID. He did have that, but I really think Finau has a good chance to play well here. Obviously, he's one of the best ball strikers on tour, best tee to green players. That's just Tony. He's a great player. His putter is what's going to dictate whether or not I think he has a good week or not. And his putter was very mediocre last week at the Houston Open. I think that's why he finished in the kind of middle of the pack. But I'm liking. I think my 2 favorite plays from this range, definitely Matsuyama and Tony Finau. I'm staying away from Adam Scott because I think his price is too high. I think the 8,900 is way too high. I don't think that he's as good of a golfer as Matsuyama, as Finau. Actually, just those 2. I think Adam Scott should be like 82, 8,300, and I think he's mispriced, in my opinion.
I definitely agree with that. I think, yes, the guy's won around here before. He's been up there in majors. However, he's at 8,900. That is the highest one in this lot. And as you said, I think Matsuyama is above him. I think Tommy Fleetwood's a better play than him. I think Jason Day's a better play than him. And Matt Wolf's about the same as him. So I have to agree with you on this one. I think my 2 plays personally are one of the guys who I've gone for in Matsuyama, who your lock of the week, and I was very close to putting him into my plays and stuff. I think he's a great option right there. And I do like Tommy Fleetwood this week, actually, especially at 8.
Interesting. It's funny. I was just going to ask you what you thought of Tommy this week. Go ahead.
I think he's had some success around the place. He's matured enough. He's won a few big tournaments on the European Tour. I think he's won on the American Tour a couple of times. I think this is his time maybe to step through and have a real run at a major. I mean, he's been up there for the British Opens. He's had a couple of chances at the US Opens. So is this the time he makes a run? And at that price as well, at 8,600, he is a great option at third guy. If you don't take 2 from the first option and you can keep one that high, I think he is a really good option at 8,600.
So check this out. I'm looking at Fantasy National calculated ownerships right now, which is pretty accurate for the most part. But this number, you're gonna be quite shocked, because I am. I just saw it right now. 3.3% calculated ownership. I mean, that is insane. If I can get a guy at 3% who, is not a bad player, I don't think he'll be 3. I think he'll be 6 to 10%. It's interesting because, obviously you want to stay away from the high percentage guys. And it's looking like, let's see, where is Matsuyama? It's looking like Matsuyama is going to creep up to about 16, 17. I'm looking at Finau. Looks like he's going to be 21, which is pretty high. If we can pivot off to Fleetwood, I mean, I'm not against playing Fleetwood. I haven't really looked at him that much. But if we pivot off to Fleetwood and Finau and not Matsuyama, because I'm gonna be playing Matsuyama, but if Finau and Wolf, who's looking about 14, 15%, if Fleetwood, if he's above them, all of a sudden he's a fantastic play at 3, 3, 5, 7, even, whatever it is. If it's a single digit percent, this is a great play if he can play well. You have to find these kind of guys in these tournaments that aren't high owned. But the thing with Fleetwood is, I mean, obviously he doesn't have the form coming in. 59th at the CJ, 57th at the Zozo. Really has struggled recently. But let's see, how has he played here in the past? He's been cut in 2017, 17th in 2018, 36th in 2019. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. Fleetwood is very hit or miss. This is just a risk I don't know if I'm willing to take. And I feel like not a lot of people are talking about him, so I'm glad we're bringing him up. anything else on him? I can't quite figure out whether or not I want to play him or not.
See, the thing that's when I look at these guys is they're all fantastic golfers.
Mhm.
However, Ricky Fowler doesn't seem to have shown up much this year in
No.
terms of being in contention. Jordan Spieth, I said, was a fade this weekend.
Yeah.
He's not keeping it on the golf course. Sergio Garcia is out. Jason Day, we've said, has had problems in the past with back issues and everything. So he might be kind of a hit or miss one.
Yeah, always a withdrawal possibility with Day.
Yeah. Matt Wolff, new to the major scene. You know, you were against him. He was one of your fades. He was one of my kind of like I disagreed with you. I think he might be a good play, but he's high ceiling, you know, but could also miss the cut. We don't know with this guy. Matsuyama, we both like. He's your lock. I think he's a great play. He's probably the option I would pick the most from here. And Adam Scott is, as we said, priced too high. If he was in the lower range where Jordan Spieth was or Sergio was, he would be a fantastic play. But the added up there nearly into 9,000s, I don't like that. So Tommy Fleetwood at 8,600 with his pedigree as a golfer, I think it would be my choice as the second option in this one for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Let's get to the 7Ks. Unless did you talk about Casey enough? Did you want to mention a little bit more about Paul? I know you were on him. Anything else you had to say about Paul Casey? I know that's one of your plays.
I think that's I think that's a really good play as well. I mean, he's one of my plays of the week, and I think he is a fantastic option in here. However, it all depends on how many you pick from the top guys. If you are taking a lot of the kind of higher price guys and you can't fit them in, then that might be the smart way, having 3 of the top 9,000s and above. So, but if you're taking one from each section and 2 maybe from the 8,000 range, I think Paul Casey is an extremely good archer. I think he's going to have a fantastic week. However, though, I am leaning more towards Matsuyama after me and you have talked about this and read some more research and watched his recent events. I think he actually might be more of a better play than Paul Casey this week.
Interesting. Okay, let's jump right into the 7Ks. There's a bunch of them. I'm not going to read all of them off. I'm sure you have them pulled up in front of you like I do. I'll kind of give a couple of guys that I like. You can give a couple that you like, and then we'll talk about a couple that we don't like. So let me start. I'm going to start down low. I'm going to start with Poulter, Ian Poulter. This is a guy for me that I think knows this course. I think he knows how to play well here. Finished in 12th, I believe, last year. I will confirm that in a second. Let's go to his course history. 12th here last year, 44th in 2018, 49th in 2016, and 6th in 2015. This is a guy I think is going to make the cut. I think if he can finish in the top 20, top 15, he'll get his value. At 7K, he's a guy you can save money with if you're going to play 2 of those top guys. I think Poulter's a good guy to plug into the lineups. I do like Kokrak just like everybody else, and everyone's been saying Kokrak, but I think Poulter is a really nice pivot off of Kokrak if you don't want to go with the chalk. Let's look at Kokrak's projected ownership percentage. I just had it pulled up. Let me pull it back up. There we are right here. Scrolling down. Poulter looks like 8%. And where's Kokrak? Kokrak looks like 15.7%. That's pretty hefty. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy playing Kokrak at almost 16%. Isn't that I mean, wow. Poulter at 8%. If I'm going to get Poulter at 8%, I mean, even Champ at 7% looks like he's coming in about there. Champ might be a good play. He hits the ball a mile. He might be a great pivot off Kokrak. I just think that Kokrak is a little bit too high owned in a sense this week. What are you thinking?
I agree with that. He's just won his first event. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was his first event, or it's been a long time since he won his first one. And that is, I'm extremely surprised at 15% Kokrak. Wow. I mean, the lower numbers, the kind of 7,000s range, if I'm picking, in the lower ones, I like Cameron Champ, 7,100. I think Kisner as well actually is a good option. The guy's straight, fantastic putter, played the course a few times. I actually really, this is gonna be a weird one, is I really like Lee Westwood around this place.
Yeah, a lot of people are liking Lee Westwood this week. I have him coming in at about 10% calculated ownership. I feel like that would have been even more if he played well at the Houston Open, which he didn't. I think he shot a 77 on day one, went on to miss the cut, did shoot 69 on day two. So he played a lot better, but yeah, I have him coming in at about 10%. A lot of people like Lee Westwood this week. They love his tournament history. Yeah. And hey, I see 46th in 2015, second in 2016, 18th in 17. I mean, this guy has been playing really great golf over the last couple months. And obviously he is a play. He was just, I mean, these numbers I'm looking at right here ever since, let's see, this is dating back to September. He was 10th in a European event. He was 13th at the US Open, 19th at the Scottish Open, 18th at the BMW, 14th at the Scottish Championship, 30th at the Italian Open. And this guy finally missed a cut for the first time in who knows how long at the Vivint Houston Open, and it was just from a bad round one. This is a guy who could easily help your lineups and really propel you to get to that bigger cash with Lee Westwood. I think that, I was just looking at Matt Kuchar right here as the name popped up. I was going to mention him, but this is a really tough range. Obviously not all the guys that we talk about are going to play well. Matt Kuchar could come out and play really well. Some of these guys that we don't really talk about, even Gary Woodland. I know we're probably fading him, but he could come out and play well. Abraham Answer. These are some guys that, I just feel like we have to look at the guys who are their ownerships are going to be low. Horschel is going to be about 2-3%. Some of these guys we have to take a look at. Abraham Answer 5%. I mean, if we can get one of these guys that comes in at around that percentage and they play well, that's all we need. If we can pick the winner from the top few guys and then grab one of these guys at a 5 or 6%. I'm totally against playing the chalk. All my followers on the Guru page know. You guys know I'm always trying to pivot off of the chalk. I just don't like it. I think Scotty Scheffler is chalk this week. I think he's going to get above 12, 13%. I think a good pivot off him might even be Paul Casey at a couple $100 more, which is in the 8K range. So excuse that. But yeah, this is a tough range, the 7K range. You really have to get picky with who you're playing. And I think this is the best range to avoid the chalk, because these guys are the most, what's the word for it? I'm blanking on the word, but they could finish anywhere is what I'm saying. You never know. Just because Kokrak's 15% owned, he could miss the cut. That's the thing. And this is the area where I feel like we have to get away from the chalk. I think that if we, let's say we roster a guy like Answer, who comes in at 5 or 6%, he could easily play well. People say, oh, maybe his game doesn't fit well. All right, just because his game doesn't fit well here doesn't mean he's going to play bad. So this is a tough area. This is where you, in my opinion, you need to pick the winner from the top couple guys. This is where you win or lose. DraftKings FanDuel right here. This is where you win or lose it. This is where you have to take advantage. You have to get the guy who finishes in the top 15, 10, and who really propels your lineup, who's low owned, could be chalky too, but who's low owned and really helps you out. So with that being said, a couple just to go back on the chalk guys, it looks like Cameron Smith is going to definitely be well above 10%. It's looking like Kokrak is going to be above 10%. Lee Westwood as well. Kisner is getting up there to about the 10%. Looks like Fitzpatrick, I know one of your boys, you can maybe touch on him after. It's looking like he's going to be above 10%. Justin Rose as well. And most likely Scotty Scheffler. And then even Louis looks to be about 12+%. So those are kind of some of the guys who are just creeping up there above that 10%. And it's tough because there's only 92 players in the field. There's only so many guys to play. So who are you liking? I'll ask you real quick in the upper 7,000 range, kind of from the Fitzpatrick to Louis Oosthuizen range. There's about 4 guys right there: Fitzpatrick, Rose, Scheffler, Louis. I know you like Louis, but who's another guy you like from that range right there?
As you said, Louis is number 1 there. I'm going to quickly touch on all of those guys. Scotty Scheffler said high owned, as has been banging on about the whole couple of videos. No experience around this place. I think that's going to play a big down for him. Justin Rose and Phil Mickelson. These 2 guys have me really interested because they're both major winners. Mickelson struggled. I'm staying away from him. But again, same with the Tiger Woods argument. The guy knows the place. He's won around here before. You see these old guys around this course, and it's not a long golf course, so they're not going to be overpowered by them. So they can still get there to the par 5s and 2. They can still make the birdies. They know the hidden breaks. They know where to miss. They know the kind of little secrets of Augusta National can throw at you. So that one is difficult. As you said, this range is where you win or lose it. It's the hit or bust. You don't know if any of these guys could easily miss the cut and blow up all week or be there on a Sunday afternoon. So, and taking that into consideration, out of the top guys, I want a bit of experience. Yes, do we want to go with the people who are high owned and stuff? It's difficult because you want to have that obscure one who does well. And that's always the kind of looks we're going for. But with Louis Oosthuizen, one of my own picks at the highest at 7,900, I think he's a really good play this week. And then just behind him in the topper range of that, I really do like Matthew Fitzpatrick. The guy has won big tournaments. He's constantly a top 25 player in the world. He's straight. He's a great putter. Fortunate to have seen, grown up in Great Britain and seen him playing events and stuff. He's won some big amateur events. So he has got the nerve and the steel to be up there and compete with these guys. So those 2 out of the top guys are my plays, is for sure is Louis Oosthuizen and Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Gotcha. Okay, let's get down to the 6K guys. We won't spend too much time on these gentlemen down here, but in case you are rostering 2 of the top 5 guys like I am, then I am actually paying a little bit more attention to these guys down here because I have to play a couple of them. So obviously my number 1 is Corey Connors. I talked about it in the other video. I like the ball striking. It's just going to come down to the putting with Connors. I mean, his short game could blow up or his short game could do pretty well. He's played here a couple times, which I like. So I think he understands the course a little bit better. So that is one of my guys at 6,600. I actually am looking at Molinari a little bit more. And the more I've been kind of thinking about him, the more I like Molinari. I believe that his game, obviously he played well here last year. He was in first going into the final day, spit it out, hit that tree, I believe on I don't know what hole it was, 15, 16. And he just went downhill from there, but he had a chance to win. Poor guy. I do like Molinari. He played well at the Houston Open. I think he finished in 15th or 17th. Yeah. So, I mean, this is definitely a guy we just haven't seen much. He hasn't played too much. He finished 15th at the Houston Open. But I like this guy. I think he's a good player. I think he has what it takes to play well here like he did last year. Don't count this guy out. It looks like he's coming in at about 6-7%, which is fair. I think he's a good play. Siwoo Kim is a guy who I like, but he is coming in at about 13% on here, calculated ownership. So I think a good pivot off Siwoo is Molinari or even Kevin Na. I know we talked about Kevin Na and his back pain, but no one is going to be on Kevin Na. And this guy is pretty dang consistent. He just kind of seems to make the cuts, kind of seems to play decent around, the bigger events. So this easily could be a guy, Kevin Na, who I could see myself pivoting off to get him in a couple lineups. I think Molinari, Na, Connors, those are a couple names that I like. I'll give a couple more. I do like Munoz, but I think his ownership is going to get too high. Lanto as well. Same thing with him. I think a lot of people are going to play Lanto. Let's see. Who else have I been looking at? I don't really like the guys that are sub 6,500. The names on here, the Andrew Landry's, Jimmy Walker's, Lucas Glover. I'm not wanting to play any of these guys. I don't think I see myself doing it. So yeah, that's pretty much, now that I'm looking at it, that's about it that I'm really liking from this 6K range. I could see myself playing Zach Johnson, but this is tough. It's, you get into these guys, they're obviously not that good of golfers, but you have to play them. You have to hope that they finish up there. So anyone you're kind of liking from this range down here?
There is actually a few. There's on the more kind of expensive end of this range. I really like Mark Leishman. Mark Leishman interests me. He has a very good record around this place. As I said, we touched on before, the Aussies seem to love Augusta National. So he is kind of the one I would definitely sneak in and kind of got in a provisional lineup in a sense. Going down the list a little bit, a lot of these guys are people who actually play on the European tour, who come over and play the kind of the really lower ones.
I know who you're going to say.
A couple of them. And I really like Matt Wallace.
Oh, really?
I like Matt Wallace. He is a big time player. He's an extremely good driver of the golf ball. He has a little bit of a temper, which is what's letting him down, but the boy can roll the flats and get it running. There is, for my kind of really obscure pick of this week, actually, is Jimmy Walker. And I'll tell you why. So, Jimmy Walker is a major winner. He's played in Ryder Cups. He's played in won a few tournaments in on the PGA Tour. I think he was a top 10 player for a long time in his career. Been watching him on TV on the Golf Network. I have been watching him on the range, and he is striping it. I've followed him on Instagram. He says he's loved the golf course. He says he's making a ton of birdies. He's feeling really good this week. Him, and especially, he's only priced at 6,300, very low. He is the kind of guy I'm expecting before is either going to be up there in the top 10 come Sunday afternoon and really have a shout, or he's going to miss the cut. He is your big player of the week or bust. Wow. That's the problem with him. But if you haven't got much money left and you've spent all your money on the top guys and you need someone in this bottom under the 6,500 range, there's no one else. I really like it. JT Postman, he's a good player. Then you're getting into the old guys who are just there for the sentimental value and the Sandy Lyles and the Larry Misers, and then the amateurs there, the Angle Ogletrees and the James Sugrus. So I think at 6,300, if you haven't got much money left and you need to plop in the guy into your lineup who you don't know much about, and honestly, I don't think many of the guys who will be watching will be knowing too much about these lower price ones. Jimmy Walker, ex-major winner, great player. He's someone I would definitely put into your lineup.
All right, well, there you go. That'll do it for all the guys in the DraftKings field. So we will wrap this video up. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was our DraftKings breakdown. Tune in Friday, I believe. We will be making a cut after the cut video. So we'll be making a video Friday afternoon. I'll have that up Friday midday, Friday after conclusion of the round. So we'll have that, and then hopefully after round 3, we'll maybe come out with another one. We'll see how these are doing, but we'll definitely get a recap video come Sunday or Monday. We'll make something then, and then hopefully we start making these videos for weeks to come. But yeah. So that'll do it for this video. Scott, thank you so much for your time. And we'll wrap it up here. From Scott Donald, from Golf Guru Greg, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.